Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I ever stopped the last recording or not.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't have any idea. Now that I'm using OBS instead, I just like it's a whole. I don't have a visual cue in front of me. I have to look at my other screen to go see if it's recording. But either way, figure it out. So I am curious what you think about a scenario that I'm going to describe to you.
Is it two girls in one cup?
It is not, but we could discuss that if it's on your mind.
It's not.
If you really like to, we can discuss. But no, so a friend of mine who back in my home state, she is she's my age. We met relatively shortly before I moved out to DC, actually, at the last restaurant that I worked at. But we've remained in contact and close friends ever since I moved out here. And one of those girls, it's kind of funny because I've always thought she was a very attractive girl, but she just has never found the love, the love in her life. So she's, coming up on, mid-30s now, still single, hasn't really had anything serious. And I've always questioned, like, why that is because, good friend of mine, good-looking girl. I don't quite get it, but she... part of the fun when we talk is hearing about the random things that did not work out for her. Like, I don't know why we just have a good time talking about like the,
Wow.
the dating fails type of deal.
Yeah.
And so lately though, she's had this guy that she's been interested in, but it's really it's almost like a high school type relationship. Like she can't get a straight answer out of him. He clearly wants to bang, but he doesn't want to date, but she won't like just bang him. She won't just become the friends with benefits. She's trying to get more out of him, and he keeps sticking around. Like it's very strange. They've gone on like these weird half dates, but not exactly dates, and he's always tried to get her to like, come over to his place afterwards, and she won't do it because she's like, I'm not like that. I just want to, we date or nothing. But he's still around though. It's like a back and forth thing. It's weird. Yeah. It's one of those situations where you'd think it'd either just fizzle out and it'd be nothing, or it would turn into something, whether it turned into friends with benefits or it turned into dating. But it just stays this weird status quo where there clearly is, a lot of this random sexual tension, but never actually getting to the sexual parts,
Right. So they're having sex though. Sometimes?
No, they have
never.
Not at all.
Never.
Not at all. Nope. And that's where I find it
How
weird.
Long have they been not having sex?
God, like 6 or 8 months.
That's a long time.
Well, he moved to Australia for a while, then he came back to. So it's one of those things where it's a long time that they've been friends. They've been hanging out. He'll invite her over. She'll go to his house. They'll like, have drinks and stuff, and he'll try to get her to stay the night because, clearly for more, and she won't do it. So like they're friends. He wants it to be with benefits. She doesn't. Well, she wants it to be dating, but it keeps going like this. Like it's just one of those things that you either think at some point it's going to turn one way or the other.
Well, but they're going on dates, right?
Sort of, not official dates. Like that's the thing. They'll go out to like, oh, let's meet up and go grab a drink at the bar. Not like let's go up and go to the movies and go to dinner and things like that. So when I talk to her, you can never tell if what they've planned is a date or just friends hanging out. And a lot of times it almost seems like sadly, it seems like she becomes the last resort for him. Like she'll ask him for a bike code. She'll ask him like, hey, I'm not doing anything tonight. Cone just died, yeah.
I yelled at him in the other room. Nephew's paying attention to the screen.
Yeah, and it'll be one of those things like she asked him at like 6:00, hey, I'm not doing anything tonight, let's go grab a drink. And at like 9:00 he responds back and says, oh, okay, sure, let's go grab a drink. Like it's almost like the nothing else panned out, so okay, let's go have a drink type of deal.
Yeah, I think you're going too far here, Jeff.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am. So long story short, this thing, it's as much as it's giving a little bit of backstory so that the context makes sense. It's not necessarily about, that, but she got invited to a wedding from, I think it's a family member, like a cousin or something like that, and sometime in October. And she texted me and goes, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. I asked him to be my date to the wedding."
Okay.
And I was like, well, you should. It's not that you shouldn't have done it, but you're clearly asking him to be. And she sent me a screenshot of the text message that she sent him or whatever, and it was clearly being like, I have this wedding. I want you to be my date to this wedding. And he didn't respond for like 2 or 3 days. So that became like the joke of what we were talking about, is how he didn't like respond for multiple days. Well, out of nowhere, he responded and said something like, "Oh, I just moved and I won't have my ties or something by then."
Oh, no, not his ties.
So, and it was like, okay, clearly he's trying to like blow her off for whatever reason. So we are joking about this, and it's like, she's like, "I told him he can just wear like whatever. It doesn't need to be a tie. Like we can get a tie. Like it's not a big deal." Like clearly, like he doesn't really want to go on a real date to the thing. And like 2 days later, she texts me and says, "Oh my God, he just agreed and said he wants to go to the wedding with me. That he'll work something out." And I'm like, "Oh, so maybe this is gonna go somewhere." So then she texts me all frantic because she went to RSVP, and it's an electronic RSVP.
Okay.
Since she's not married, they didn't give her a +1.
Ha! Shit.
What do you think in general? It's like, so finally this guy says yes, he's gonna go. They're gonna go on this date. They got this date planned. Like he's agreed to go to this wedding, and she found out she does not actually have a +1, and there's no way to like manipulate the system.
There's got to be a way to manipulate the system.
I told her to just fucking bring him anyway. Like,
yeah,
who cares?
yeah,
Or
exactly.
RSVP
And then be like, he ordered
something.
the steak or whatever. I mean, it's not that hard.
Right. I've never seen an electronic RSVP to know like how it works. I've seen RSVPs before that made it clear that you didn't have a +1, and I always thought that was a little bit weird, but I get it in some circumstances. But she's a family member, even though she might be a cousin or whatever. Would you ever think it's okay to invite somebody, a friend of yours or a family member who's in their mid-30s, and not allow them to have like a +1?
Yeah, no, I mean that's silly. Like, yeah, bring whoever, really. Right?
That's what I would think. Even if, and I know some people are going to be like, "Well, it's money. It's money. It costs the wedding party money," and I understand that it costs the wedding party money. But it's going to be awkward to go to a wedding by yourself because you're not going to give me a +1.
Yeah, no. I agree. No, she should be able to bring. You should be able to bring a date with you, regardless.
I mean, maybe if you're in high school or something like that, I get why you don't give that person a +1. Like if it's the cousin from, who's a junior or something like that. I don't need to be paying for your random high school boyfriend to come because, you're coming with family. Like that's the deal of it all.
Right.
Once you're like college bound, I think it's if you ever expect anybody to go to your wedding, you're giving them a +1. Like it's assumed there is a +1.
If you're getting married in high school, you got enough problems anyways.
Well, I mean, people can get invited to weddings in high school because they happen to be like cousins or whatnot.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
And I'm saying you don't necessarily have to give them the +1.
Right.
You're inviting that set of the family or whatever as, a group of, the mother, father, and whatever the children are. And not saying, hey, you're 18-year-old, bring your high school boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's the only kind of way I can somewhat see it, because I definitely went to some weddings when I was in I went to my cousin's wedding. I think I just started college. I probably could have brought a +1 to that though, but I didn't have a +1, and I didn't even try to get a +1 because I just went with my family. Yeah. I just hung out with my family because it was a family wedding, and I didn't have any need to have a +1. I guess at the same time though, on high school girlfriends, I've gone to weddings with them as the +1 before, of like their cousins or whatnot who are getting married. So now I don't know. Now I'm second guessing.
I'm
second, but you agree that it should be like a given that you have a +1.
I mean, yeah, no, yeah, you can't. And we're adults. Like you you don't want to go somewhere like this by yourself. And that's it,
Right.
really. Like
Right.
that's it.
Yeah, I just I always RSVP to weddings that I would get invites to with a +1. I RSVP. I'd send it when we used to send them in by mail. You know, back in my day when you had to send those things in by mail. I always RSVP'd +1 because my assumption was I was going to have a date by the wedding, and if I didn't, I got 2 dinners. You know,
God, it's like that stupid Forge party.
Stupid what party?
I said this is like that stupid Forge party. Were you and Milby?
Oh. At the Forge party, all I know is I had about 25 bottles of wine.
Yeah, you were +12.
Yes. God, that was so much fun. You were not happy.
I was very upset. I don't think I've ever been that up. There was a lot of stress. I think I was under stress for things that had nothing to do with that, that a party or whatever.
I'm trying to, like, one of the things that you were upset with was because you wanted to have a Mindcrack meeting. And I don't remember what about.
The fucking panel! The first time, and all the fucking... you brought my rage back. In all the years...
I was trying to remember.
In all the years that we should have been on the main stage for a Minecon, and we weren't. We were finally on the main stage, and we had nothing prepared for our panel, and I just wanted people to sit down and us decide what we're going to talk about on this panel on the main stage.
Okay. Now that you say it, I guess I understand what your frustration was all about.
And nobody could be bothered. And then meanwhile, you got poor innocent Pyro.
Nobody? I thought I was like the only one.
No, you weren't the only one. But Milby and you were bad influences on several.
Milby and I were definitely together, not at the meeting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then meanwhile, you got
Milby and I were the only Mindcrackers.
No, there was other people that weren't there, but.
Well, no. I mean, we were the only ones together. Like, it was him and I getting wasted on all these bottles. We just never left the dinner. Like, other people...
No, that's not true, because you went to the bar. You went to a bar at the hotel or somewhere. You were at a bar.
We eventually, once we got kicked out of the dining room, we went next door. Next door, it was still in the same building. We moved from the dining room to the bar.
Right, and then meanwhile you got like the rest of us in the hotel. It was we
eventually got everybody else there, but it was after the meeting was supposed to.
Yeah, it was after. Well, we did the meeting, and then you got like people like Pyro, who's being a good little Pyro at the meeting, but he's antsy because you guys are all tweeting and stuff, and he's looking at it, and we're all trying to have this meeting, and then like Pyro was like trying to do the right thing, but at the same time he's antsy because you guys are like, I don't know,
having fun.
Yeah. It was
not doing what we were supposed to do.
I was very mad at everyone involved. And I don't know, there's a lot of money and shit involved and all that stuff at the time. Like, I mean, not at the panel, but like, I don't know, there's a lot of stress involved. Coming to London and renting out that location there at the Eye was very expensive. And that stuff had already happened at that point. But there was a lot of stress involved in that trip. Like the number of things that went wrong, like the number of products that Wes had ordered where he didn't prep them correctly or proof them correctly, like our wristbands that came in, which had the insert image here and stuff.
The wristbands. There's no way that could have been his fault.
It was his fault. He got an image and he was told to approve it, and he approved it, and he approved the image with the image saying your image here, and that's what they printed. Your image here. So, I mean, yeah, it was his fault. Not to throw Wes under the bus, but, I mean, mistakes were made.
My assumption, that was always like, how can a company ever think that the button to upload your image
was
the image that you...
I have to pee. I'll be right back. I can't hold it. I've been trying. I just can't.
I got Guude so riled up that he has to pee. I mean... that's a pretty impressive feat, if I do say so myself. It was kind of funny because I actually did not know during that whole trip in Europe that he was this mad about us missing this meeting. I didn't realize it until I got home because I'm usually the person who is very much like making sure. For those of you just listening to a podcast, Cone, who's at Guude's house right now, said, can confirm Guude just opens the door and pisses outside. But I'm usually the person who makes sure like things happen. I will always stick to the plans. I will always make sure I get to meetings. I get to whatever I need to do. I'm on time to like places. And this was just like an exception to the rule. And I don't know why it was. I don't know how it spawned and we decided that we just weren't going anymore. But it just is the way it happened. And it's so abnormal for me and all people in that situation.
Don't lie. You liar.
Well, you saying that I normally don't show up to things?
No. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that happen at these conventions like that, where, like people get to the convention or whatever, and then they're really focused more on enjoying themselves than.
I agree completely. I just don't think I normally fall into that category. I think I normally fall category where I'm very dedicated and I will be where I'm supposed to be and where I say I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a complete.
I mean, there was a lot of alcohol involved.
There was a shit ton of alcohol involved. And I think, honestly, in my mind, I didn't know that this meeting was so important. And I probably attributed it in my drunken state to most people aren't going to show up, so why should I? Type of deal.
I was very upset with everyone that wasn't there.
Yeah, I didn't know much until afterwards. I didn't realize that many other people were there, though. I, for some reason, thought it was like just Milby and myself.
There was other people that weren't there. I mean, it might not have been that many. I don't completely remember. I remember being pissed, but I was pissed about a lot of things. I'm still good friends with Wes, but in the middle of that, you probably know, him and I had a complete falling out and a yelling, screaming match.
I was there at that restaurant.
Oh, were you there?
Yes.
Okay, well then you've seen my
it was me,
breakdown.
You and Chad and Wes at that restaurant, and it was this. It was not funny at the time, but looking back on it afterwards, it's funny, and not because it was a funny situation, because it literally like looked like you guys were an old married couple having.
Yeah,
is how like it broke down, just the way it went down. It was like at one point you yelled at him and stormed off, and he just like almost started crying. It was like, "I'm so sorry, dude." And it was just like, looking back on it, it was like, "Oh my god, like you guys look like an old married couple."
Yeah. No, I've never been in a situation like that. Like I was like lost in London basically, and then none of us had like cell phone service, and like y'all couldn't get back to the hotel room because you didn't have battery to get your Ubers. And
Chad and Wes and I had to somehow get home after all that. Luckily, Chad like did whatever magic that he did, and he ended up getting us home without a problem. But we were also, I think we drove around for a couple times. We told our Uber driver to drive around a couple laps because we were looking for you because nobody could get a hold of you.
Dude, I was shaking mad when I left. I don't remember ever being this mad before, but I was shaking mad when I left that restaurant. I was already mad when we got to the restaurant because this whole time we'd been there, Slowpoke was talking about this place where he got these hand-pulled noodles and how great they were. And he gave us these very cryptic directions to get there. And remember we went to like a Raelian's birthday party before that? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do, at the Irish pub, right?
Yes, yeah. Which I've been back there since then, even actually. But yeah, we did that, and then we went to go find this hand pulled noodle place that Slowpoke had been talking about. And so we finally found it using his cryptic ass directions. And then we get in there, and those people were rushing us so hard. Like, do you want number 1, number 2? What do you want? What do you want? What are you going to get? You remember that? Like, they were just like,
I do. Yeah, it was like a gas station, like noodle place.
Right, but meanwhile, the shit they were like the number 1, number 2 wasn't any of these hand-pulled noodle things they were talking about. And so I kept asking the questions. I was like, where are the noodles? Where are these hand-pulled noodles? And they're like, which one do you want? Which one do you want? And then people came in behind us, and those people were ready to order because they knew what they wanted. And then
the hand-pulled noodles, man. That's what they wanted.
Probably. And so then I finally just gave up and just ordered like one of the things. And then after that, someone comes along and fucking pulls out these hand pulled noodles, and they got them. And then I was even more upset. I was like, where? What the fuck?
Didn't you end up ordering them as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, that is what I wanted right there. And I told the guy, I was like, this is never what I wanted. And you basically forced me into ordering something when I was trying to ask you where the thing is that I really want. And then the owner, I don't know, me and the owner didn't get along at all, basically. And then we get downstairs.
And you're like, and this is London. You still speak English here. Like,
well, yeah. And that's the other thing, too. I never, ever have had a bad experience in London. It's all been very pleasant. Every meal I've ever had in London was fantastic. Like, it was like, you don't know what you're doing, sir. You're ruining like a streak here. This is not just about you anymore. It's about all of London. And then, we get downstairs, and there've been all these problems the whole convention with things related to Wes. And again, I'm not trying to throw Wes under the bus here, anyone. This is all water in the bridge.
It's all old stuff.
Yeah,
like,
Wes and I are friends. We're good. Everything's great. But at the time, the stress was high and things were stressful. And we got into this basically like a screaming match. Which is it wasn't a scream match. I tried to talk to Wes rationally, and Wes kept raising his voice, and Chad broke in and was trying to talk to Wes too, and it got even worse. And like, that's something I can't deal with. And that's what really broke it down, is I can't deal with people screaming because of my childhood with my mom and dad, or my mom and stepdad screaming and stuff like that. And that's what I basically told Wes. I broke in and was like, I can't handle this. This is way too, familiar to childhood domestic violence. And I gotta be.
That was, yep. You said the words, this feels like domestic violence, and you got up and you left. And that's when the I'm sorry Guude from West came out, and I was like, what am I staring at right now?
Well, when I went to leave, I jumped up from this table. We were downstairs in this fucking noodle place. And I went to leave, and here comes the owner that I'd already argued with, coming downstairs with like tables.
Noodles?
No, he had like tables and shit, trying to bring them downstairs. And I was so done at that point. I was like, excuse me. And he was like, you need to move back. And I was like, get the fuck out of my way. And I like threw his table out of his arms and like left this place. And when I left the place, I went out into the street just like a crazy person, basically. Because I just wanted to be away from all of this. And like, I just wanted to be free, basically. And so I'm outside in the street of London, and like, I don't know where to go, I don't know where I'm at. And I just turned right. And I remember walking into a convenience store type place, and they're like, we're closing, you have to leave. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, there's so many of them. And I was just like, had a nervous breakdown in front of these people's face. And then like the guy like started consoling me, and he was like, do you need water? Like, what do you need? He's like, and I was like, well, you said you're closing and all. And he's like, no. Like, he was done closing at that point. He's like, what do you need? And like, he gave me a water, and I was like, well, how much is it? And he's like, no, you just take this water. And so I left there, and I went and just sat on the stoop of someone's house and just sat there for like 30 minutes. London? Just like, yeah. And just sat there for like 30 minutes trying to like gather myself and like get my breath and like just chill the fuck out and calm down. And after that, my phone was dead too. But luckily I had the two phones, because at the time I was trying out Android phones as well. And so I had my second phone that I never ever used, and it had Uber and all that shit on it. So that's how I got back to the hotel, was I had a second phone that actually had battery power, because all of our phones were dead. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck I would have done. I called Crystal even. I called Crystal and told her all about it, and I was just like, I just had a breakdown basically on the phone with her too. I was like, it's just fucking bullshit, and this and that and the other, and blah blah blah, and this is what happened, and I don't know, drama. But anyways,
yeah, it was an interesting time, that's for sure.
Yeah,
it was. And if I don't know if part of why I was the way I was, with just like hanging out and not doing anything. Remember, I had that terrible Airbnb.
Oh yeah, I do. Where you had the French people who had the kid.
God, and it wasn't that anybody was like me, like anything. Like, they were very people.
Yeah.
But that kid was there, and it was just, I always heard that kid, and I heard it in the morning. It was crying and, and then playing and this and that. And it was long before I had children. But God, we were coming home every day. I was showing back up at this house at like 5 o'clock in the morning and then leaving again at like 7:30 to go to whatever the hell we had to do in the morning. So I was just wasted constantly, and I'm like, I just feel so uncomfortable in this situation.
I'm gonna go. You know what? The sun is up now. Damn it! I'm gonna try to go sleep so we didn't deal with these phantoms. We need to make sure we do that next nighttime.
We definitely should do that next nighttime.
Oh, he's chasing me all the way over here. Damn guy. But yeah, no, that trip was a very stressful
experience.
Trip.
That's for sure. Good thing they don't do Minecon anymore, right?
I mean, I was just so pissed off about so many things. We paid money for these big banners, and Wes had proofed those, and then they didn't come in right. Like, just the amount of money that got spent, and like Wes was in charge of everything. And there was I'm not good about relinquishing control. And so it was one of those occasions where I had done that, and then things didn't go right, and I just kept feeling like, well, this is your own fucking fault, Jason. You never should have put someone else in charge. And I don't know. It was a nightmare. Nightmare. But again,
nightmare that is over. Now the only stress you ever have is the marathon, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And those have become better and better as time goes on. And Extra Life has helped more and more as time goes on too. So those, they're not so bad. I'm not worried at all about this year's marathon, and it's coming up quick. But
I think the nice thing about the marathon is everybody likes to participate. So even if you don't have a segment that's working out right, somebody will improvise and do something during the segment to make it happen. I think every year there's always been some segment that's flopped or people didn't show up to it because they were sleeping or whatever, and we just made it work.
Yeah, the thing about those parties also always was that I had put down my own money to pay for the venues, and I was always like, anytime any of you guys wasn't constantly pushing it, I felt like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, I have $30,000 of my own money on the line here. Fucking promote the thing, you asshole. So I don't know. I'm glad those are also a thing of the past, because the amount of stress from those parties whenever there was just this money hanging out in the air, and it's like everyone wants to have these parties, but no one wants to push them, and it ain't gonna cost you anything if they flop, but it sure is fucking gonna cost me.
Right. Don't you remember too, like when we started going to PAXs, at first it was a big thing to make sure we had to throw a big party. Like, that was an expectation. We needed to make sure we threw a big party. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden one year it was like, no, we can never throw a party. People would know where we were at. Nope, no parties. Parties can't happen. Like,
yeah, that was someone's fault. That shit pissed me off too. It's kind of like the Minecon where we did the very last Minecon of all time. And we did this fundraiser before going into this Minecon, and we promised people a lot of things. And one of those things was that there'd be constant content from it. So me and Severus went, above and beyond to make sure that there was constant live streaming from the house. And it was like, man,
I thought it was awesome.
Well, I did too. We got it all set up and ready to go and blah, blah. We get there and everything's going good. The first day we do this live streaming stuff, and then other people start rolling in off their planes. They're like, hold on, wait, there's cameras on us all the time? No, it's not cool. I don't want that. And, I
don't want that. Yet I'm still going to stay in this house and not go to the other house that doesn't have cameras because this house is better.
Right. And,
fuck all those people.
Nothing against the people who don't. I understand it. But I mean, it felt to me like we had made a promise. We didn't promise 24-hour, we didn't promise Big Brother. But to me, I thought that was fucking cool. I thought we do this Big Brother thing. Like, people are going to be like, man, we really got our money's worth. And, it's a lot of fun to watch what they're doing behind the scenes. And to me, it felt like a really cool thing. But then some people were super not into it. So it was like, well, I guess let's shut this shit down.
I definitely, I almost think that we should do like a week of just Big Brother-esque, put us, in a house, we just go have a party for a week and it's just live streamed the whole time.
I'd be down. And I think people would fund that. But I think we need to make sure that everyone that's on board for such a thing knows what they're signing up for, I guess.
Right. Well, I thought it was, we went to that because it was donations from a
we raised $17,000 to be
very
there.
clearly spelled out. Like it was because we were going to be putting out all this content.
Right. And some of the best things we've ever done to some degree came from that. Like I think that Mindcrack Confessions video that we came up with.
That was funny as shit.
Yeah, no, I think that was probably one of the better videos we've ever made. And the Eater Aware stuff
Eater
we did.
Wear It. Eater Wear It was great. Yeah, it was. Though we never really moved that. We were going to do that at the marathon.
The problem is we never found a venue that allows us to shower.
That would let us be that messy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
you need
right.
to be able to shower.
Yep.
Yeah, now if we had a place where we could easily shower afterwards, I think Eater Wear It would be a lot of fun for a marathon. I've rewatched those videos several times, actually. And they're so well done. Like I just like I've watched them on my TV where like it's like, man, this looks so good.
The Confessions video was fantastic. Like
Yeah.
one of the best edited videos I've seen. Like that makes it look like it was a Big Brother house.
Yeah,
Granted, I don't watch Big Brother, but that's like the kind of style.
You know, that was 100%. I mean, the idea was mine, but the production, the everything that makes that video good, all Drew. Like he did all the editing. He made sure the questions he asked each of us, because none of that's scripted. Like people that watch that and think it's scripted, none of it's scripted. It's Drew asking us questions based on what other people said to make this narrative. And he come up with like these things, kind of like the whole, Guude birthed the chicken. And he got everyone to talk about that. Like that was 100% Drew's thing, basically. And he did all the editing there at the house. So like it's 100% a Drew production.
Oh God, that was so good. I forgot about the bird chickens. I do remember like getting into character for the to be about the lions. That wasn't scripted at all. It was funny because it was only scripted to get the right reaction on camera. But at one point, I like literally said to him like, "Are we almost done? Because I want to go back and watch the game." And he's like, "No, say that to the camera now." It's like that's gotta be your exit out of here.
Yeah, that was good. It was real good. I would like to do a lot more stuff like that. I wish there was a way. I wish we all lived within some kind of vicinity to each other to constantly make those kind of things. Because I think that would carry us in, like people would be interested in that sort of thing. Basically,
I wonder if you could do some of that stuff like on the side of the marathon, and it gets released post marathon.
Yeah,
of like the kind of the side quips that are
right.
Like happening. The problem with that is that means you need some other way of recording, and
right.
Drew.
And the marathon's already super high stress, like
right.
So yeah.
I mean, but there was a lot of time where we're sitting around and doing like during Sliced. There's a lot of people. If you're not the judge and you're not the people cooking, there's a lot of people standing around that we're having our own random conversations about things. Like I wish you had seen, because I had stopped. I bowed out of judging because I had lost my voice. Wigwater. And while we were sitting at the side, the whole time I was contemplating with oh my God, why can't I remember his name? Birthday pick guy who does Skyblock.
Seth?
Dark Costo.
Oh, Skyblock. Skyblock. I heard. Yeah, okay.
It was Dark Costo, right?
Yeah.
It was Dark Costo and his girlfriend, and we were sitting on the side waiting for you guys to finish, and we were literally like making plans of how quickly to get out there once the time stopped, to stop especially people like Breon, who constantly was just throwing away his extra food. Like we had plans, and we would just run right when that timer ended to go snag food out of people's hands so that it didn't get thrown away, so we could eat some too.
Right.
But
it's weird he was so much food away, because that's always been a big part of it. The people on the sidelines are always like, buffet time.
Breon, no, not with Breon. With most people, yes. With Breon, no. Breon would be like cook stuff, and at the end of time, it'd be like all his extra stuff that he had was like in a trash can. Don't know why he did it, but we made sure we. Thanks for the thing.
I was trying to get my sword in my hand because there's a man coming for you.
Could have said "man coming for you."
Well, I was gonna just save you. In the meanwhile, something about what I just did destroyed my bow. Do you have a bow? Did I throw a bow at you?
No. I only have my one bow.
Oh, it was just there, but invisible. When I moved stuff in the inventory, it came back. All right, well, guys, we gotta go. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of random old ass stories.
Talk.
Yeah. But
podcast episodes.
It kind of is. I think this pyramid's going to turn out real well. I can't wait to get pretty deep with it and like start branching off to separate like sections and stuff. Have like a big tree farm, wheat farm.
We're still at 58.
Yeah, down here, this is 50 right here, and I don't know if it's going to be low enough. Honestly,
we'll have to see when we get down there because it's going to get a lot wider when we get down there.
That's true.
To know if that's a good place to start branching or not.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.